It all began with the beads. If you're lucky enough to have a memory that serves you with the vivid images of the late 90s, there's a part of you that still sees a girl barely old enough to drive with purple, yellow, and white beads in her hair flying all over the court in Queens. When paired alongside her older sister Venus, the image of these two young black sisters is one that would serve as the genesis for so many things to come in the tennis world. This episode of Statements in Style is presented by TJ Maxx. Nearly 30 years later, it feels almost ridiculous to think that something as simple and benign as plastic hair ornaments would set the sports world on fire. But when Serena won her first Grand Slam at the US Open in 1999, defeating Martina Hingis, who thought she was just a passing fad, one thing was made clear by the younger Williams sister with the devastating serve. She wasn't afraid to stand out. Oftentimes, when we look back on an athlete's career, we tend to forget earlier portions of it due to human nature, evolving media trends, or other accomplishments simply overshadowing previous feats. The Puma era of Serena is arguably one of the most forgotten in sports. It was there that the first truly iconic looks were fostered and displayed. In the year 2000, she had matched the little black dress with tie-dye accents of her favorite color. By 2001, the Queen Bee look, complete with the blonde braids and matching shoes, was on full display. Form-fitting, colorful clothes that accentuated the black female form were not celebrated grandly at the time whatsoever. We think of them now just as Serena styles, but it didn't make her any friends in the stuffy social world of tennis. As she kept winning tournaments, it established her as an outsider, somehow existing within two cultures, fashion and tennis. She famously walked into Puma with her own designs in hand for her on-court clothes, saying she was ready to reignite the brand that once clothed the legendarily basic Boris Becker and Martina Navratilova. Her dresses were fabulous and wearable, whether you were playing tennis or not, if you could pull them off. She did with aplomb, and her popularity soared. We had seen almost everything we thought we could imagine from her, up to and including an outfit that looked like a modified soccer kit in all its glory. There was no denying that Serena looked like she was having fun, was winning Grand Slams, and generally carrying the torch for people who look like her being festive in public. But the year everything changed, and the Compton native would re-engineer all of the working parts of the tennis apparel game forever, was 2002.
Tell us a little bit about your outfit tonight. Did you design this?
Yes, a new Puma design. It's like a little catsuit, you know. It makes me run faster and jump higher. It's a really successful design. It's really sexy, so I like it.
After the catsuit reveal at Arthur Ashe Stadium, nothing would ever be the same again. Not for her, not for us, not for sports, not for America, nor the globe. She wasn't just a tennis player anymore. She was a superhero. It's impossible to overstate how impactful it was to see a sister at the then pinnacle of her career standing on the court in a bodysuit that left nothing to the imagination, but was not inappropriate. Many of the powers that be simply could not wrap their brains around the fact that this woman had not only the skills, but also the confidence to display such athleticism and form with the eyes of the world upon her. That's the kind of daringness that other athletes couldn't dream of, never mind accomplish. At this point, she was a superstar who could not be stopped. 2002 and 3 brought us the first Serena Slam, where she was the reigning champ at all four majors at once, just not in the same calendar year. The tennis court was now just her workplace, meaning all the things we had gotten used to being dazzled by were just her office clothes. There were too many red carpets, galas, and award shows for her life's passion to be held in by what people deemed acceptable. This pink number at the 2003 ESPYs, she designed it herself and called it Anetes, her first name in reverse. At the tail end of 2003, when she signed with Nike, bringing together a dominant personal brand and apparel brand in a way that hadn't been seen before, nor really ever since. High-top shiny black boots? What are you gonna do about it? Denim skirt on the court? Do we have a problem? A neon outfit that somehow changes from skirt into a dress? You know, for the woman on the go who has to transition from day to night, just like all those 80s ads centered on the busy lifestyle of the working woman. Desk to dinner? Please, this isn't Murphy Brown. The following decades presented a cavalcade of looks that one day will be in a museum, but for now, are in fact displayed in the lobby of the building on Nike's campus named after her. When she started going really big in warm-ups and trophy ceremonies, doubling down on these game outfits, her matches became must-see TV well beyond what they already were. Tutus, shoulder straps, Air Jordans, crop tops, snakeskin, trench coats, blazers, the list goes on. Her bag was deep. My personal favorite, the 2021 Australian Open. A color-blocked leotard inspired by the stylings of U.S. Olympic track and field legend Florence Griffith Joyner, aka Flojo. It was amazingly vibrant. She endured the racist taunts of the French Tennis Federation on Maine for the fabulous and functional catsuit sequel, then showed up the next year with a jacket that read, Mother, Champion, Queen, Goddess, en français mind you, designed by the late Virgil Abloh. Just a little reminder for those who found her just being herself to not be, quote, within reason. Meanwhile, her off-court looks continue to shine. She holds back nothing when it comes to haute couture and has always been into luxury vision. Oscar night, check. Vanity Fair function, certainly. Paris Fashion Week, bien sûr. Met Gala, hell, they could have a whole theme in coming years dedicated to Serena herself, which would probably go crazy. Gown game goes bananas, kiddos. By the time she made her first solo Vogue magazine cover, it was almost an afterthought. Having been on the cover before, but not by herself, Williams was already an establishment figure. Her time in fashion school and glitzy lifestyle were one thing, but the official stamp of Anna Wintour was another. She finally got the recognition she deserved in 2015. If you've never been in the building to see Serena Jamaica Williams take the court, I don't know what to tell you. Of course, the static images of one of the great style icons of our time are a sight to behold. Watching her grace on camera through televisions or otherwise is a national pastime, but to experience it in person with one's own eyeballs is an experience that can be difficult to put into words. Covering the 2022 US Open was as magical a moment as I've ever experienced as a sports writer. With the emotional weight of her retirement looming over the Flushing Meadows crowd, it felt like a send-off fit for a queen. Knowing her penchant for the big stage, her garb was certainly going to have a spotlight on it, and she didn't disappoint. Wearing what Harper's Bazaar described as a bejeweled cropped sports jacket layered over a matching tennis dress, with sheer sleeves and a detachable black and gold glittered train, coupled with jewelry from her own line, she sparkled. According to the magazine, the dress Williams wore, which featured a crystal-encrusted bodice with a V-shaped cut where it meets the 6-layer skirt, was inspired by figure skating apparel. The 6 layers are a reference to Williams' 6 Flushing titles. The jewels on the bodice, meanwhile, are meant to represent the night sky at the US Open. Amazingly appropriate, actively lovely, and monumentally radiant. Once it was time to play, she removed the excess and wore a warm-up jacket of similar ilk. Some might have said over the years that Serena made a mockery of the game by being so ardent with her choices in the tennis world. Many believe that her visions as a teenager weren't worthy of the country club atmosphere the sport provided. But on that night, she was able to remind everyone why they were just waiting to catch up. And right there courtside, watching her take her final ground strokes on the court that brought her so many Grand Slam titles were her husband Alexis and her daughter Olivia, dressed in a matching set to her mother's. And of course, just like her mom did so many years prior, she was wearing her beads too, where it all began.